Good evening and thank you for joining us. 8 men were arrested in connection with a case of assault against an employee of the Correctional Services Department outside Macaus prison yesterday. All 8 suspects have tried backgrounds. Police are now looking into the motive of the alleged attack. The police's Organized Crime and Tribe Bureau rounded up the suspects within 1 day after the alleged attack. In a press conference, the force said a 50-year-old assistant officer of the Correctional Services Department was assaulted at around 1 p.m. on Friday after he finished work at Macaus prison. While he was waiting at a minibus stop, a private car with a fake license plate was parked 5 meters away. 3 masked men got out of the car and beat him with a long object. After about 10 seconds, the trio returned to the car and fled. The victim sustained 6 lacerations on the head, arms, and hands of around 5 to 15 centimeters. His left wrist was fractured. The 50-year-old is now in stable condition. While the suspects were making their getaway, they hit a mother and daughter who were passing by. They were taken to hospital for treatment of injuries. Police launched a citywide manhunt right after the incident. 8 local men aged between 16 and 37 were arrested. All suspects had tried backgrounds and most are unemployed or in freelance jobs.
警方仍然係調查當中。
Lam Kai-chor, superintendent of Organized Crime and Tribe Bureau, said they are still investigating the motive behind the attack and there is no evidence suggesting that the case is related to the victim's financial and personal backgrounds. Probes are underway on whether the attack was work-related. The force condemned the violent act against officers and the blatant disregard for the law. The police will also look into whether the perpetrators and the victim are acquainted. Some of the 8 arrested will face prosecution. A non-ethnic Chinese man was arrested on suspicion of robbery and wounding. It is understood that the victim was an off-duty police officer. Online footage showed the bloody scene reportedly around Yau Ma Tei. The non-ethnic Chinese man was seen wielding a fruit knife. Sources say an off-duty police officer from the police technical unit left a bar in Tsim Sha Tsui in the small hours of the morning before being assaulted when he reached Yau Ma Tei. He sustained injuries at the hands, feet, and neck and was taken to Queen Elizabeth Hospital for treatment. In a joint statement with 15 similar international organizations, the Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data voiced concerns that social media platforms are extracting users' information for artificial intelligence training purposes. Privacy Commissioner Ada Chung said global data protection organizations agree that platforms should give users options to opt in or out of data collection. They should not assume all users agree to their information being shared. She also said data extracted illegally might be sold on the dark web or used for identity theft. After receiving the appointment by Beijing, Macau's chief executive-elect Sam Ho-fei said President Xi Jinping has instructed the new administration to promote the diversification of Macau's economy and resolutely implement the one country, two systems principle. Sam Ho-fei was appointed as the 6th-term chief executive of the Macau SAR on Friday in Beijing. After returning to the enclave, he said President Xi had exhorted him to shoulder the great responsibility of leading Macau well. She also noted the importance of maintaining national security, sovereignty, and the interests of Macau, with more dedication to Macau people's livelihood, he said. They encompass the aspects of elderly care, healthcare, childcare, and transportation. Some U.S. media have described this presidential election as the most intense in recent history, with the Democratic and Republican candidates showing small differences in poll support. A difficult-to-predict outcome reflects increasingly polarized political views among the American public. Trevor Lee in California speaks with Chinese-American supporters from both sides.
These 2 supporters of Donald Trump are expecting a better future for businesses in Chinatown in the city by the Golden Gate if the former president were to take back the White House. Trump definitely puts security first, they say. This lady in red duckbill cap and a slightly oversized suit jacket is Alan Lee Zhao, the only Republican representative among the 13 candidates running to be San Francisco mayor.
Republican mayor in history.
Besides resembling Trump, her ideas can be said to be cut from the same cloth. Democrats, I can't stand them, she said. Most of the businesses in the city center are gone under the Democrats. She also said the media has been cheating them. California is a Democrat stronghold. Under the Electoral College system, Republican supporters in the state who don't win the popular vote will not have their presidential preferences proportionally reflected in the electoral votes. Zhao added that she likes Trump's America First policy the most. Also, she has already bought a bulletproof vest and would wear it when she goes out after Trump's successful campaign, expecting that crazy and evil people may deny the result. If I see Trump win, I will immediately burst into tears, says Darlene Chiu Bryan, Executive Director of Global SF, San Francisco's global office to attract investment. She has placed all her hopes on Kamala Harris. She explains that in recent years, what she hears most from import-export businesses is their fear of America's rapidly changing policies. She says US-China relations are prone to being harmed. The biggest problem is that when Trump was president, it was really chaotic. He made policies, but the people below didn't know how to implement them. The business sector had no clue about all the ever-changing policies. Bryant also helped with Harris' campaign for San Francisco District Attorney about 10 years ago. She says Harris is a strong woman. When she walks out, you know she's the boss. Bryant hopes Harris will go far this time. Bryant also acclaims Harris as clear-minded and very approachable. With many smart people having joined Harris' team, Bryant has great confidence in the future outlook for businesses. Trevor Lee, TVB News, California.
Welcome back. China will offer visa-free entry to China for Slovak nationals, along with 8 other countries, including South Korea and Finland. The policy begins on November 8th. The news came shortly after President Xi Jinping's meeting with Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico in Beijing. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the move will further facilitate people-to-people exchanges. People from Slovakia, Norway, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Andorra, Monaco, Liechtenstein, and South Korea will be allowed to enter China for business, tourism, family visits, or transit for up to 15 days without a visa. The policy will be in effect until December 31st, 2025. Finland is one of the countries being added to the visa-free list. Finnish President Alexander Stubb visited China last week and met President Xi Jinping. Stubb personally thanked Xi during talks, and he spoke about bilateral relations and other issues in an interview conducted in Beijing. David Garrett reports.
Finns will be able to experience China's delights without a visa, such as the Bund waterfront in Shanghai, with its mix of old and new architecture, or the Great Wall further north near Beijing. In an interview, Finland's president welcomed the news.
I think it's great. We really appreciate that. And it came as a little bit of a surprise. I had heard that some European states had the same treatment. So when the president told me, I was, said, xie. Then I talked to some of our businesses in the evening when we had a reception afterwards, and they were super excited.
Stubb has known President Xi for a long time and says there are lots of opportunities for Finnish businesses to make an impact in China.
For a country like Finland, it's important to have good relations with big players, major powers like China. The uniqueness comes from the fact that I think we can trust each other. A lot of Chinese people go up and down with the people flow in elevators and escalators made in Finland or made in China and serviced in China.
The Finnish president says the two countries can help each other in areas of common interest like climate change. Stubb spoke with students in Shanghai during his trip and thinks visa-free access to the mainland can lead to great opportunities for young people.
In exchange and understanding. So for instance, on the student side, we have 3,000 to 4,000 Chinese students in Finland, but we only have 200 to 300 Finnish students in China. So, I'm going to go home and give some recommendations and suggestions. Say, hey, why don't you go and do an exchange in China?
Finland's president was asked about the political landscape in Europe, where several countries, including Finland, have elected right-leaning politicians with anti-EU policies. Stubb says the EU does have a future.
Just one gentle reminder. The European Union exists for 4 very simple reasons: peace, prosperity, security, and stability. It's an imperfect union, which is more than an international organization, but less than a state. And this is the mess that we're trying to solve in Europe. It's never pretty, but it seems to be working quite well.
David Garrett, TVB News.
To help young entrepreneurs gain experience, the Labour Department is holding the Chill Bazaar, an entrepreneurship experience day at the shopping mall in Tsim Sha Tsui this weekend. Participants showcase their innovations such as eco-friendly products and wooden toys. Samantha Lee has the story.
The bazaar in Mira Place features 25 stalls selling a range of handcrafted and creative products by young people. This team developed a sustainable product called the gel soap. This 15 grams of gel we dissolve in water in 20 minutes and turn into a 500 milliliter liquid soap.
By reducing the size and the shape of the hand soap, we were able to eliminate 90% of the amount of plastic used in the production and also the packaging of this hand soap.
Maven says the program is helpful for growing business.
During the consultation processes, it helped us on how to set up our product, how to market our product, and how to sell. For example, they will tell us does this product how does it look good, and then how we could attract the consumers.
Elsewhere, this store is selling wooden toys for young kids. Founder Andrew Lowe, who has experience of teaching children, has been designing different kinds of wooden products to engage them. This little wooden apartment is just like a miniature home, and kids can open the door, ring the bell, and press the button.
We want to show people we have got some new product, and both children of different age can enjoy our wood product.
The Labour Department received over 70 applications, and 25 teams were chosen to participate, based on the originality and creativity of the business. The selected teams were provided with training and consultations.
In the bazaar, a counter has been set up to introduce employment training and self-employment support services offered to members aged 15 to 29. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news for tonight. Thank you for watching.